I want to remind our great country why we are all here. I've never heard a person running for office in the United States of America who does not say, profess, or promise that the safety of our communities is what they're coming to fight for. I'm very proud to be an American, but it saddens me to admit that more people die from gun violence in America every day, every year, at the hand of a gun than any other place on the planet. You would think that that would be reserved for a country that doesn't have a government. The United States of America has a government. We have elected officials. But one of the reasons why more deaths, more harm come to people in America at the hand of a firearm is because certain politicians, after making that promise and getting elected to the United States Congress, they deny their responsibility of working with the truth. In 1996, it was a Republican-controlled Congress that defunded the Center for Disease Control. They said, you shall not, you will not report to Congress on the issues of gun violence. Shame. We will not fund you. We will not allow you to take the best minds in America, the professors in our best universities, so they could report to Congress with the facts as to why so many people are dying due to gun violence. That's been 20 years, ladies and gentlemen, 20 years of forced ignorance, 20 years of denial of the truth. It was just a couple of weeks ago that I very proudly announced that the next generation of my family has just begun. My beautiful daughter and son-in-law just had their first son, our first grandchild, and this is what he looks like. He's a beautiful, handsome, healthy little boy. What I pray for him, what I pray for my grandson, is that he never comes to his mother, his father, his grandparents, or anybody he loves and says, why did my friend die? I did that when I was a little boy. Why was Rudy killed by a rifle right across the street from our home? I had to ask my parents that question. Why did Rudy die? He was a boy, not yet a man. And for the last 20 years, this Congress, this Republican-controlled Congress, has refused to allow us as policymakers to work with the truth, with the facts. I will not relent. I will not allow another 20 years to go by so that my grandson would ever say, Grandpa, why did my friend die? Grandpa, aren't you one of the ones that are supposed to make sure that we're safe?
Yes, yes.
Aren't you one of the ones that is supposed to make sure that my friends don't die? As little boys and as little girls, we just had Father's Day this past Sunday. a beautiful day of celebration, of family, of life, of gratitude. But every year in the United States of America, there are 32,000 more empty chairs on Father's Day, because that's the number of lives in the United States of America who perish every single year at the hand of someone with a firearm.
Right.
Why? Why, ladies and gentlemen, would we allow that to happen? Why would we stand for that? Politics is not the truth. Facts are the truth. The blood of 32,000 people in America every single year is the truth. We are the most powerful nation on earth. We're admired for our democracy. We're admired for being number one in so many ways. But we should be ashamed of ourselves because we are number one in deaths due to firearms. And there's no other place on this world who holds that disgraceful, disgraceful fact. Ladies and gentlemen, Americans, please, please, please do not relent. Please remind me and her and him and every single member of Congress that we shall make our streets safer.
Yeah.
We shall pass laws that are sensible.
Yeah.
That not every person should have a firearm. There's not a person today who has said on this floor that they do not believe in the Second Amendment. Not one person today has said that they do not believe in the Second Amendment. The Supreme Court of the United States has determined over and over and over that Congress can and shall make reasonable laws to make sure that our streets are safer. That's what today is about. That's why we've had enough. That's why we're sitting on the floor of Congress, pleading with our Speaker to do the right thing, to allow the debate to happen, to allow votes to take place so that American voters, American citizens, people who have participated in our democracy can look into the eyes of the people that they voted for or voted against and say, I was right, that person believes in a safer America, or I was wrong, that person does not believe in a safer America. For the sake of the children who die in the United States of America due to handguns, more than any other place on the planet, let's not give up. Let's continue the fight. Let's do our jobs. Let's not worry about our next election. Let's be concerned about the lives of the boys and the girls and the men and the women and the fathers and the brothers and the sisters and the grandparents. We all made a promise, Republican, Democrat. We've all made that promise that we will make our streets safe. We promised that they could sleep at night. We made that promise, every single one of us. And the majority of this House refuses to keep their promise. Let's not give up, ladies and gentlemen. Let's continue this fight. Let's stay on this floor as long as we have to make sure that we make our streets safe in America.